Welcome. In this short video, we are going to talk about installing Node.js. The reason why we're installing Node.js is because, well, there's two reasons why you might want to install it, and we're going with reason number one. So the two reasons are, one is that we've been making a big deal that JavaScript is really the language of the web, that you can run your JavaScript programs inside a browser. And for the purposes of the exercises, many times we want to learn about the language features in JavaScript, but we don't necessarily want to run it inside a web page or a website just to keep things simple. So we don't want to have all that other HTML stuff in there. So we want to run our JavaScript program outside the browser. Node.js allows us to do just that, and that's why we're installing it. The second reason, which is the more typical reason why people install Node.js, is because more and more industry are writing applications in JavaScript that don't run in a browser. They are sometimes called server-side applications, and they run business logic that are critical for their business, and they don't necessarily all need to run in the browser, or should they run in the browser? So Node.js is that kind of JavaScript environment or runtime environment that lets you run your JavaScript and your JavaScript type of languages outside your browser. So let's go ahead and install Node.js. We're going to do it on a Windows platform. The steps are similar to Mac OS if you have that as well. Not exactly the same, but similar. So we're going to start off by visiting nodejs.org/en, and let's do that now. So when you get to the Node.js install screen, it's going to ask you if you want to download the long-term service release, which is the most stable one, or the most current one, which has all the latest features that they've just released. And we're going to live dangerously, and we're going to install the latest one, the most current one. In this case, at this moment, it's 16.50. So click that to download it. For the sake of brevity, I've already downloaded it, and we're going to begin the install now. So you can just click on the icon once you've downloaded Node, and it's 16.50, 64-bit version. Let's get going. Okay, it's launching the wizard that's going to walk you through all the steps to install it. It's saying, welcome, you're here, you're in the right place, click next. Like a lot of installers, you always get that license agreement up front. Read through it, make sure you're comfortable with it. It's quite lengthy, but go through it, and then when you're comfortable, click I accept the terms and click next. This is the default location where it's going to install the Node.js. Unless you're unhappy with that, I would recommend leaving the default and clicking next. These are the different things that are installed by default. I think it's installing everything. I wouldn't change any of that. Just select that. Just keep it select the way it is and click next. There's an option here to install some additional necessary tools for other things, other add-ons and scripts and pop-ins that you might use. For the purposes of this exercise and the larger class that we're going through, do not check this box. It has a very large payload that needs to be downloaded, and it can take a very long time to install. I think many minutes maybe, and it's including things we will not use. None of the stuff in there we will use or need. So do not check that checkbox for this course. And so just click next without checking that. And that's it. It's a pretty short installer. You might need to grant your OS the right privileges to install it. So let's click install. Yes, I need to give the right privileges. So I say, okay, yes. The install begins, and it's very quick, very easy, and it should be done shortly. And we're done. Click finish. And that's it. You've got it installed. To verify the install works correctly, we're going to try running Node.js against one of our programs within the Visual Studio Code environment. So let's launch Visual Studio. Visual Studio. And we'll bring up our Hello World program. So all this program does is console.log.hello-world. This is a good example of why we wanted to install Node.js. There's no HTML in here. It's not a web page. It's just a one-line program to install Node.js. It's a one-line program just to print out to the console "Hello World." Open a terminal and make sure you have the terminal set up at the bottom here. And we're going to run our code now. And the way we run it, and this will also tell us that we have Node installed, is just Node space and the name of our program. And there you go. It printed "Hello World" using Node.js. Thanks for watching. All the best in your journey to JavaScript.